Hello, this is Matt Limited, and Alexa, set timer for an hour.
1 hour, starting now.
I'm deciding to do 2 videos a week instead of 1. Be happy. Also, next season I will be playing after the request of one Aradaki Adam. Sorry if I butchered that. I'll be playing the US in the Cold War. I did play it once before, where France went communist and I accidentally started World War III with a Algerian Pied Noir government trying to take France over. But that was one time. Pardon me. I bet it won't happen again. Anyway, we've got Lazar Kakanovich. I still don't know why specifically this guy. I bet there are other Stalinists within the region. But, yeah, you know. No. Everyone. Sometimes you just get the guy. You sometimes just don't get it, but you just get the guy. I can't speak to this should stop the Suez Crisis. And hopefully there'll be an revolution in Bahrain. And hopefully Saudi revolution. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. You have completely finished your focus tree. So you literally can't do anything. That's cool. And the world has become de-Stalinizing while we're still Stalinist. Which still doesn't make quite a lot of sense, but hey ho. And we still got boys in East Turkestan. Hopefully there's a communist revolution in Afghanistan so I can help. Anyway. So the plan is go down this tree first, then do internal errors, then go down here and rebirth the Komiturn. Yeah. Then go down here, then maybe go down here, then do this part of the tree, and finally do the go down here to get the 21st Party Congress. Do the 3 trees, do the 5-year plan, try to work the 5-year plan. I honestly God have no idea how to do the 5-year plan, but I pray to God I do it right. Then the probably the military focus tree, then we do the left path, then the right path, then down here, get that. After we did the 7th, 5-year plan, and get its results. And pray that I've done everything correctly, because I'm pretty sure I won't. Everyone is doing the same as last time. Let's get the thing started. Wonder what news starts. The fall of the Yan'an generals, in a rare public rebuke, Roma reports spread that Kim Il-sung is not even in charge, holds generals trained by the Chinese communists responsible for the recent military setback. This has opened a challenge to the Yan'an faction, which consists of pro-Chinese communists to Korean leaders. The group has strong ties to Chinese communists and dominate the military leadership. Following these criticisms, Kim is expected to purge a number of generals, placed him with his own loyalists. The Chinese communist leadership is said to be displeased with the situation. Interesting. Now you're dismissing hand for your industrials. These, you're increasing cooperation with Eastern Europe. Autosave, you're founding the socialist state. You can't do anything. You're building air bases. You can't do anything. The first Backward Classes Commission, the Constitution of Imaragadingagandia, I 100% said that wrong, requires the president to establish a commission to investigate nations of backward classes across the country. The on the offer suggests how to end discrimination. Backward classes are identified by communities due to social economic reasons hindered to gain nation access to education and or jobs. The president placed the commission called the first Backward Classes Commission under the leadership of famed Indian independence actor Kaka Kalakar. The mission eventually identified over 2,000 backward classes and communities, in which nearly 900 were called for most backward, and recommended socialist reserving seats at universities for backward communities, and social justice campaign in which those in higher classes, castes, or social status renounce their advantages for the betterment of the nation. It is also called on the literacy to train programs for these communities. So, you're not going communist, sadly, but you might in the next election if you don't go down this one or this one. But you're basically sort of communist. I hope for the Naborodipperid-Pad administration to take hold instead of Joralin Naru. Okay. I guess I could go over what everyone's doing. You're constructing high-powered filtration plants. You're constructing consumer goods factories in Konya. You know which? Oh, you haven't even got down a press, so you can't do that. You're constructing the Adriatic defense. You're getting LA-28 bombers. You're getting technical advisors. You're supporting the Hungarian Revolution. You're getting land forces. You're annulling the HAV's judicial initiative. You're fostering ideals to strengthen through unity. Your completion of the first 5-year plan. You'll resist Comic-Con demands. And you're getting the Dutch Sovjetscha Freundschaft, or the German-Soviet Friendship Treaty. You can't do anything. Same as last time. Dismissing Han saw you. Same as last time. You're for a free tire. Wrong thing. Quest Vietnamese industrial aid. We don't know what you're doing, but it's either crackdown on Catholic immigration or the Bandung conference. Waiting for the Asian down south. You don't have anything to do. We don't know what you're doing, but my guess is something around the Suez, so hopefully the Suez crisis happens. value expanding affordability or establishing a national union. Either way, stuff happening. The National Party is now taking over Syria, so you can either do that in next year or do that next year. I hope you're going down the left tree, although very, very interesting. Two in one. The Yugoslavia endorses the Hungarian Revolution. The Hungarian government continues its open support of the Hungarian Revolution. The Yugoslavian government continues its open support of the Hungarian Revolution and condemns Soviet aggression. We haven't even done anything. Many Hungarian dissidents are currently under the protection of the Yugoslavian embassy, much to the chagrin of Soviet officials and military leaders. In addition to Yugoslavia, argue that Soviet action was the suppression of the Hungarian revolutionary who simply wanted to create a revolutionary state which reflected the values of its people. They did not want the Soviet model and its weaknesses to undermine their revolution. The Soviets have already condemned Yugoslavia for its stance, and it appears the only hope of reconciliation between two leading communist states in Europe appears unlikely. We're both in the Allies, and I have supported their revolution. How are you still saying we are the ones repressing them when we allowed them to do it? I mean, it was basically with the help of the Chinese, but still. Well, so technically, they should have this bit here. Just saying. I don't think they had. I mean, technically they had Croatia, so I guess they had to have this bit of the river, but yeah. Anyway. The greater good of Lenin. Focus on the greater good. Collectivism is one of the most important values of both our ideology and the people. While imperialists view our countrymen as tools to be exploited, Comrade Lenin taught us the way of true civilization. No, we must refocus our propaganda towards dedication and heroism of the Soviet people and torchbearers of the communist cause. Can't wait for Project Talons to come out. The Lord Dad series that's a sequel to Project Stracer. It's going to be very interesting. It's President. Okay, I need to look up the file of it. Oh. This is our so he was the Democratic senator for Tennessee and yes, representative of Tennessee, who was famous for all those things into organized crime. Who died in 1963. From an aneurysm. He had 4 kids. That was, ironically, was the it wasn't the actual running person for the 1956 election. That was one Adlai Stevenson II. Although he was the running mate to him, so that was interesting. So he would have been vice vice president rather than president around the time. So well done, Este Cavalla. I bet your administration is mostly going to tackling on criminal stuff. Anyway, President Cavalla, liberalism means an intelligent effort to keep political and economic development of our nation abreast of these responsibilities that come from the atomic age. It means that extensions of the use of our resources for the common good, the solving of problems maintain democratic principles, the free and competitive enterprises maintain democratic principles and free competitive enterprise in a day of big business, big union, and big government. Este Cavalla, Elder Chief. Anyway. Finally, some stuff happening in Africa. The MPLA is formed. The Angolan Communist Party under Viriato da Cruz has merged with the Party of the United Struggle for Africans in Angola, the PLUAA, supposedly, to form the People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola, or MPLA. This merging will combine the intelligentsia and urban activists of colonial capital Rwanda with the Ambutu ethnic group. This base will ideally allow the organization to effectively organize without outside pressure and instead establish itself as a premier movement to the liberation of Angola. Concerning news from Portugal. Not for us though. Ghana became Dominion status under Simeon Daydog. And the Soviet line too, baby. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. So we've got a possibly communist Ghana. That's like what I like to hear. The greater good. Today, my dear students, we'll continue our class about our esteemed Comrade Stalin. During our last class, we discussed industrialization of the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Today, we will focus on Comrade Stalin's excellent leadership, which saved us from the fascist threat of the Third Reich. These types of lectures were commonplace through the Soviet Union, as the next generation studied hard to become productive members of the social society. The Soviet teachers had the task of understanding the curriculum to properly present it, the life and legacy of Joseph Stalin, an incredibly complex leader, and Comrade Kaganovich, his closest advisor. Very focused propaganda towards Lenin. During Comrade Stalin's leadership, the cult personality was created around him. Though Stalin was a great man, in this case, he was in error. Stalin was but a faithful servant of Lenin, and we must teach our people once more not to be loyal to men, but the Soviet ideal. Lenin lived, Lenin lives, Lenin will live as long as we remain Soviet. We remain loyal to Lenin's cause. That's a bit of a tongue twister, at least to me, anyways. Okay, so a bunch of things just happened at once. Pakistan purchases Gwandar. Port of Gwandar was long been under the administration of the Omani Sultanate. What? Alright. I'm going on to war. under the administration of the Omani Sultan. His claim to the port was secured by the agreement of the British and the nearby princely state of Makran, who previously controlled the port. After Pakistan gained independence, Makran joined the country, but Gwanda remained under Omani rule. Recently, the Pakistani government approached the Omani government, and after friendly negotiations, the Omanis agreed to return Gwanda to Pakistan under the sale of purchase. The agreement shows how Muslim brothers can work together to work in the interest of its people, and in contrast to the Indians who often utilize brute force when dealing with land claims, with Gwanda secured West Pakistan and now has the deep port it develops in the future. Interesting. Hungarian requested guidance on reform measures. The Hungarian government has asked approval over the recent reforms, part of a new course of socialist campaign, and by Prime Minister Imre Nagy. Since his appointment, Nagy has initiated a series of moves meant to reduce coercive power of the government. He called this new course a new course, and this will entail the release of political prisoners, legal reforms. This action will garner Nagy's Hungarian communists his popularity among the people, but is facing within the party many Hungarian communists believe these coercive powers and actions will sustain the state and are essential for social transformation of Hungary. They fear reforms in Nagy weaken the state, doctrinally oppose the Soviet model, and could foster unrest. These are certainly important considerations, but it should be noted reforms have improved relations between people and the state and will prove vital in the coming years. Okay, so move out all this stuff out of the way. So this should have happened before the Hungarian Revolution. Since it already happened, I can't really stop it, so I guess we agree because it's already happened. Approve the reforms. General Secretary Anton Yugov. The shift of de-Stalinism launched from Moscow has led to major communist parties across Europe to reassess their policies and structure. In Bulgaria, the old guard, which has controlled the party since World War II by foreign pro-Soviet Stalinist lines, finds itself sidelined within the party, with de-Stalinists being the order of the day. Bulgarian Communist Party announced it would be appointing Anton Yugov, first secretary. Yugov condemned the cult of personality and supported the development of Hungarian communists independent of Moscow. In past, such views would have led for his removal from the power and the party, but with de-Stalinism embraced by the party, these views will form the basis of the party. The old guard now faces criticism for this, and their supporters will not view the appointment of Yugov as a product set for the party. Yugov has also bested rivals within his camp, who may have been sought to take the senior leadership for themselves. Surprising. So the words de-Stalinizing, and we're still Stalinists. This is awkward. Romania embraced de-Stalinization following Lazar Kaganovich's speech about Stalin and his cult of personality. Many of the Warsaw Pact countries have begun the process of removing authority figures that embrace Stalin's method, even though our speech was in support of Stalin. Romania has followed similar steps in the wake of the 20th Congress, working to remove the power of Hungary Georgia Dej and his dictatorial method in favour of the First Secretary and his more modern views of communism. Although Georgia Dej fought tooth and nail on his perceived threat from revisionist and liberal anarchy, he has been overthrown with the backing of Kaganovic and replaced with Anna Polka, another Stalinist gone. Anna Polka was in power still by now, and now has just been replaced with a different guy, Miron Constantinescu. Okay, this is the weirdest thing ever being Stalinist destabilization. You're getting the aftermath of the drought, you're nationally remaining industries, you're appointing loyal clergy members, you're stacking the administration, you're embracing democratic socialism, you're completing the 5-year plan, you're getting Soviet Yak 55s, you're engaging talks with the clergy, you're employing Soviet armor, you're doing the 20th Congress to the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, even though that's already been done, you're dismissing Rokossovsky, you're completing reparation payments, you're not doing anything, we have no idea, you're abolishing bureaucratism, you're rebating the rebatation of the Communist Party, you're getting Sankalin for peace. You're getting the Lao People's Revolution Youth Union, no idea, you can't do anything. You're expanding affordable housing, no idea. Then moving on. Japan peace treaty offer. Japan wants a peace treaty in exchange for Sankan and Kuril Islands. So the treaty is that okay, so save. Okay, I may go back. Sankalin. Okay, so we lose Sankalin and we get. We don't even get the peace treaty because you're goddamn. We don't even get the event. Well, that was a waste of goddamn time. Russian since Swift. I'm not gonna just give up. Maybe the Kuril Islands, yeah, but not St. Gallen. Then again, yes, I do actually need. Then again, will this increase the score of communists? I mean, socialism. You know what? Screw it. I'm allowing Japan to have St. Gallen. Screw it. Screw it. I'm gonna regret this later, but screw it. They can have it. Well, okay. Hopefully this increases support for communism and socialism. I didn't just shoot myself in the foot. Thirty minutes remaining. The Komiturskaya Pravda published another story about the founding fathers of the Soviet Union. The front page contained a summary of the life of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, starting from his humble beginnings, his gradual turn to the revolutionary side after witnessing his brother's death by the Tsar's troops during the Great War. Lenin was exiled into Switzerland, but not even a vast distance from the motherland could stop him from trying to bring power to the people. He wrote letters pamphlets that were later distributed to the Petrograd streets, later renaming Leningrad in his honor. After the revolution, he circled so associates grew, including his successor Joseph Stalin, but before Lenin could achieve his dreams of bringing the glory of the socialists to the world, he suffered a stroke, but it did not stop him from fulfilling his duties until his ultimate untimely passing. It paid off, however, as the movement he started and the union he created were strong enough to resist the fascist threat and safeguard the revolution for decades to come. Here's a quote where Lenin praised Comrade Gaganovich. Embrace collective leadership. The Soviet Union is not an autocracy like the Russian Empire because before Comrade Hadovich might be the first among equals, but the Politburo is the whole most participate in governments. Our great union upholding the values of social democracy, Soviet democracy. So you're resuming collectivization. So you're doubling down, basically. So you're gonna have a second route, and you're just gonna cover that up. You're doing infrastructure modernization. You're subsidizing cooperatives. You're still doing the same as last time. 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 You're purchasing Soviet Lakoviches. Same as last time. Same as last time. You're joining Komiturn. You're already a member. Wait, no, you're a member of Common Form, not Comic-Con. You're doing nothing, no idea. You're exceeding expected results. You're pushing guerrilla factions. You're accepting bribes. You're doing the same as last time. No idea. Can't do anything. You can't do anything. We have no idea. You're not even associated with us. You're doing the Suez Crisis thing, nationalizing to Suez. Alright. Oh, the Pondicherry was invaded. And same as Portuguese territory. The end of French India. The French have had an enclave in South Asia since the 17th century. With the independence of India, the people of the French area demanded union with the new state. The French in turn decided to allow elections in the area to determine the people's desire. Following the results, all the French enclaves have been ceded to the Indian jurisdiction. The Indian government already expecting officials to smoothly transition from French territory into the country. Some of these territories will be incorporated into the neighboring province, but the main French area, Pondicherry, will be administrated as a union territory. Another colonial power in India has been driven out. When the Indian Union grows stronger, the mission to end colonialism in South Asia continues successfully. Not surprising. The annexation of Nagar Haveli. That's not it. That's not it. What the hell is... Okay, so... Naga... Yeah, they have no idea. The Indian patriots living in the Portuguese Gar Haveli following the independence worked hard to liberate the area from colonial forces. After a brief struggle, the people were victorious and they began ammunition sales with the help of India. However, internationally, the territory is still seen as Portuguese. This ended today after the senior Indian civil service members who made the head of the state of Nagar Haveli. Once he was sworn in, he formally requested permission to join India, which the Indian government accepted. Indian forces and government officially quickly moved into the territory and began the process of integrating the territory into India. The Portuguese have lodged a protest with the Indian government at the United Nations. However, many observers believe it will have little effort in the ground. Twilight loomed over the Portuguese Empire. Oh yeah, it won't. What is this focus? And why did you have no longer... Oh, it's because I can't see it, that's probably why. Yeah, it's here. This time around this tree, where it's either going to go pro-American or pro-communist. So civil war or communist. I like this tree. The execution of Navad Salvi, known as an advocate for Islamic rule in Iran, which is nowadays has become true. The Navad Salvi formed the Fadaiyah-e-Islam to push to increase fundamentalist reforms into the nation. The government power would finally have enough with antics after the attempted assassination of Prime Minister Fazal Zahadi. Safavi was executed by state authorities along with the 3 other allies. The executions marked the dark day for Islamic fundamentalism in Iran, as it becomes clear that secular policies are to stay in Iran. Secularism is here to stay. Indeed. Yeah, I'm doing focus. The Suez Crisis seized. As the sun rose over Egypt, or the elite force of the Egyptian army raced into the Suez Canal, quickly seized it, while Gamal Abdel Nasser simultaneously made a triumphant speech to his people behind the canal, righteous the Egyptian, and that it is now theirs. Once again, while masses all over the Arab world flooded the streets to celebrate the great victory over old imperial powers, top diplomats and politicians all over Europe are scrambling to find all such reactions, figures out how this will impact their respective countries. It remains to be seen how long Nasser will be able to hold on to the new territory. Interesting. The fall of the guerrilla faction. North Korean Communist Party continues to shake up as the news that the Kapsan faction currently being purged. The party following the removal of Kim Il-sung from power. The pro-Soviet and pro-Chinese factions. The Kapsan faction consists of former anti-Japanese Korean guerrillas fighters who were close allies with Kim, which their removal, the possibility of a pro-Kim counter-coup, has greatly reduced. The new North Korean leadership, Korean leadership, is likely to continue consolidating power over the party and state. Surprising. Internal work of errors. The communists may never sit on its laurels. The imperialists work every day to grow their power, and so we must look inward and engage in our own programs of reform. It's not a portrayal of communist ideals, but a completion of it. We will restore the party apparatus and full working order. from the smallest village to the central community itself. The country, damn it. What's everyone doing? You're continuing rapid industrialization, you're establishing the Smith ammunition factory, you're establishing a secret police even though you had one, you're embracing Comic-Con economic planning, you're getting voluntary agricultural collectivization, you're preparing the public for democratic reforms. So you're going to end a one-party state. That's going to be insane. Go on, we see how back. Blow it back in the face. You're rehabilitating Gadar. You're constructing modern and air bases. You're rapid de-Stalinization. You're beginning wiretappings. You're accelerating railway construction. You're getting mass amnesties. You can't do anything. We don't know. We don't know. You're rehabilitating the coal sector. Your government-directed growth. Don't know. Expanding clandestine weapons. Can't do anything. Can't do anything. Go on era of Egyptian culture. Has the storage crisis already happened yet, or no? It hasn't. Is it glitched now where it can't happen and everyone's stuck in the 50s? That's it. Something to think about. Yeah, there's a failed coup in Syria. Still a few months away. The Syrian government announced the plans for a coup sponsored by the United States have been uncovered by the Syrian intelligence. Syria released pictures of the arrested conspirators and shown the assembled media powers of cash said to be provided by the CIA. Syria claims that it was the patriotic officers who were conspiring to end and halted and halted the American attempt to rob the Syrian people of their independence. The United States has denied involvement in any plot, who apparently envisioned the Syrian military overthrowing the government and establishing a new regime around Colonel Kabani and who is amongst the detained. More turmoil in the region. Nearly gone. So, the US plan to invade Syria. Does danger to stability. The USA has used its contacts with the media across the world and potential allies to release articles highlighting how unstable the Syrian government is. These reports note the Syrian government remains committed to the war in Israel and is engaged in arms building and expenses of developing economy and government for the benefit of the people. More significantly, Congress has informed intelligence reports indicating a growing communist power in Damascus. These reports suggest either a communist coup may occur in the near future or unstable he may turn to the Soviet Union, opening its lands to communist military bases and troops in exchange for arms. Publics increasingly viewing Syria as an unstable bomb that is destroying any semblance of regional or global peace. Really? Get Strela 2. The death of Raymond Magsaysay. Reports breaking out in Manila suggesting that Filipino resident Raymond Magsaysay has died in the result of a plane crash in the island of Cebu, which has been confirmed by the local authorities. Magsaysay is known for his global movement against the Japanese forces during the 40s and ardent anti-communist views, was a polarizing figure in the Philippine communists. Locals in Cebu were questioned by the authorities, revealing that the Philippine president plane as C-47 crashed into the mountain of Pinatubo in the early morning hours before the fatal accident from a departure in Cebu to return to Manila. Magsaysay was due to deliver a speech to free education institutions on the island. Reports advised that the 36 to 56 boards were lost and they crashed. Estimates of investigation timeline conducted by both Filipino and international experts could last anywhere between 5 to 7 months. Tragedy. Surely. 40 minutes remaining. Alright, next focus. Strengthen the party structure and legality. Regulations and the rules are necessary to keep the functionality of our system going as we move from the dictatorship of the polity to the proper rule of law. We will codify the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in bylaws to fight corruption and abuse of democratize the party's apparatus so all members will have a voice to be heard. Collectivization of the party is a victory for communism. You're scrapping unused pipelines, you're providing water to eastern Turkey. You also have a collectivized leadership. Because he stepped down. You can't get him, so it's most likely Nazim Hikmet or Premier Inonu, which is a Titoist. I hope to get Hikmet, who is arguably better for us. Maybe a Khrushchev, but he's better for us. Your new railway developments, you're promoting Bulgarian nationalism, you're repressing the bourgeoisie, you're getting the Yugoslavska Narodная Armija, or the Yugoslav People's Army, you're honouring Romanian anti-fascist volunteers, you're organising the Popular Patriotic Front, you're ending the personality cult, you're enforcing strict standards on art, you're getting the Stalin mills, you're beginning the implementation of socialism. You can't do anything, we don't know. Same as last time, you gained JPACs, you're encouraging electoral participation, we don't know. Can't do anything, you're securing funding for the Aswa Dam. The Bandung Conference. Most of the Asian and African states met today in a massive reunion to discuss Afro-Asian economics and cultural cooperation, opposing colonialism and new colonialism in any nation in any shape, being composed of 29 countries and represents the total population of 1.5 billion people, or 45% of the world population. 10-point declaration has begun to discuss and it seems likely that it will pause from these points, being the most important ones are abstention from intervention or interfering in general affairs of another country, refraining from active threats of aggression, not the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any country. A final communique was presented, which is currently underscoring the needs of developing countries to loosen their economic dependency on industrial nations by providing technical assistance to one another through the exchange of experts and technical assistance. Interesting. Ten minutes remaining. Okay, 3 things just happened. Crisis in Lebanon, recent tensions between the Manorite Christians and Muslims increased the Manorite President Camille Chamon to increasingly take progress in lines to avoid associations to risking Arab nationalism, gaining the wider Arab world. Lebanese Muslims, particularly the Arab nationalists, but the Manorites remain strongly dedicated to maintain ties with Europe and the West. Recent Sinai crisis, exploded into a political crisis in Lebanon. Lebanese Muslims began protesting the Syrian, who refused to break ties with Western states, and protests demanding the Lebanese join the United Arab Republic to stay away from Baghdad attack. While Syrian has indicated an interest of joining as tensions increase in far Lebanon, may soon face the Arab nationalist revolution to overthrow the government. A desperate President Shimon has appealed for the UN to help, and as they refused, he asked for the United States, another crisis in the Levant. Lebanon joins the United Arab Republic. The United States government, following the lead of the United Nations, decided not to intervene during the political crisis. Within days, pro-United Arab Republic, or UAR, protesters broke into and revolted in Beirut when the army with 12 million officers soldiers joined the protests. Hours later, the Lebanese government was overthrown, and the Committee of Arab and Nationalist Officers and politicians declared the formation of a new ruling council. They are now announced to offer to obey the wishes of the Lebanese people and request union with the United Arab Republic. The United Arab Republic clearly accepted, and the senior United Arab Republican officers flew and began integration of Lebanon and the Lebanese Maronite Christians, who are said to be concerned, and while many are considering the flight to Europe, others are preparing for the possibility of military invasion. The Lebanese revolution is being widely praised across the wider Arab world, but Israel has expressed concerns of these developments. A victory for Pan-Arabism. The Syrian Social Nationalist Party coup in Lebanon. If Israel didn't like the Pan-Arabs, they definitely won't like the will definitely not like the Syrian Social National Party coming, even though the Baathists, the Syrian Social or Communist Baathists who want to kick Israel out, the Syrian Social Nationalists are literal fascists who will definitely kick them out. So we're going to see a greater Syria. So this is going to be great. So honestly, this got more interesting. Military officers who seized power in Lebanon today. The coup unfolded in Beirut when two of the officers led their soldiers and rapidly captured the cabinet and the senior leadership of Lebanon. These rebels then took over the radio station. Now the new government and military police force did not react. The party leaders moved in to take over. The lack of a response in being attributed to general shock among the security guards, but regardless, it's allowed the Syrian Social Nationalist Party to consolidate hold. When the Syrian Social Nationalist Party leaders addressed the country, they stated the coup was meant to preserve the cultural and historic identity of the people and defeat the rising influence of Arab nationalism and the government. They noted that the Syrian Social Nationalist Party not acted the Arab nationalists would have handed the country off to the North Africans and the Gulf Arabs, who would have no business in telling them what them to do. Well, this is interesting. So we got the Lebanese Free State, the third a new fascist nation has reappeared on planet Earth. This is going to be funky. Oh, it's not in a faction. Analyze Comic-Con efficiency. Got 5 minutes. Comic-Con was created by Komiturn to answer to the American Marshall Plan, promoting trade, common economic planning between the states of Eastern Europe. Unfortunately, it has been rife with inefficiency and seen many of our economists as a drain on its treasury. We must analyze its failures in restructuring. Comic-Con is into a worth vessel of friendship and people. So the Suez Crisis now happened. Israel invades the Sinai. Earlier this morning, advanced elements of the IDF have Israel Defense Force Have entered the Egyptian-owned Sinai Desert and are steadily moving towards the recently nationalized Suez Canal. Israeli leadership has stated the cause of the war is directly tied to the Egyptian Premier Nasser strong and repeated threats to close the Strait of Tiran. You mean the Red Sea? They're nowhere near the. I don't think they're even close to the Strait of Tiran. Where even is the Strait? And in light of his destruction of his decision of seize the canal, Israel has no choice but to strike back in self-defense. So far, the international community has been somewhat silent in the unexpected development. While reports and rumors state that top British and French diplomats are hammering out a ceasefire proposal, how will this play out? Why, of course, retake the dam. Personally, I would like this to succeed, but that's a personal thing. Funding secured for the Azwa Dam. The Azwa High Dam has finally been received funding and will be constructed across the Nile. The dam will expected to span 3,800 meters. Its tremendous height at 110 meters. The dam will support industrialization with its electricity control, flooding, provide water infrastructure and irrigation to farmland for this distance. Additionally, the dam will create a lake that will be permanently named Lake Nasser after a revolutionary leader. Currently, the Egyptian government is beginning the mass hiring of contracting in order to accumulate manpower and resources necessary to build the dam. Now its funding has been secured. Very good. McCarthy passes away quietly. Senator Joseph McCarthy passed away after an acute hepatitis at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. Some reports are suggesting it may have been alcoholism, but this has not been confirmed. Senator McCarthy has been faced with a congressional investigation into communist and subversive influence in the federal government. He initially captured the public attention of many Americans concerns following the revelation of extensive serious firings, which is in World War II. However, he recently was censured by the Senate for his aggressive questioning during hearings and many baseless accusations he made. Public opinion has also declined significantly. Many believe the popularity of McCarthy will end with his death. A twist of fate. De-Stalinization of North Korea. The Korean Communist Party has announced a new program to purge the nation of the cult of personality. The party leadership noted that the previous leader has stayed frayed from the social path of glorifying an individual leader over the needs of a nation and the party itself. It also added a new program will pave the way to North Korea to fully establish collective leadership and greater national stability, and the process continues to prosper. Before continues. Conflict interest inside the American Medical Association. The American Medical Association has come under fire today as the recent circulation of its donors, mostly big schools and medical equipment, needs have influenced its policies and lobbying agendas, making them complicit in corruption and conflict of interest. Scandals. A scandal involving the highest echelons of the organization were recently given vast sums of donations. Half of it goes to themselves and the other half goes to the organization. In return for favor and influence in the organization's policies, the American Medical Association has yet to respond, but observers state that it's far from reaching the consequences further. A bold move. One minute or so remaining. Recognizing the legitimacy, Chairman has declared today that there will be a revision of the current regime. The People's Republic of China Chairman itself has praised the intelligentsia that have criticized the government during the 100-file campaign and has argued that time is now for the fire department of China to recognize the pleas of the inhabitants. This seems to clearly indicate by experts of the Chinese regime planning on reforming its authority and letting itself become more moderate. It remains to be seen whether Chairman Mao will liberalize or if he will maintain his iron grip on government. Interesting. Alexa, stop. Close overrated. So the remaining days of that. I'll end it when we get Komiturn because why not? Egypt managed to win. Much to the shock of the international community, today Gamal Nasser Abdul Nasser claimed a military victory over the tripartite pact of Britain, France and Israel, despite early stages of conflict from the Sinai and Suez Canal showing Egypt to be on the retreat. Nevertheless, in the army, it was able to recover and push Israel out of the Sinai, effectively ending the chance of success for a tripartite pact. Details and ceasefire negotiations are still unclear, but it seems likely that the Nasser will demand some sort of reparations and, of course, to keep the canal under Egyptian control. Underdogs came out on top. This is very different from our timeline, where they basically got kicked back, and it's the US and Soviet Union telling them all of them to go back to your places. Also, canonically, the Egyptians now control Gaza. We're technically having an hard time there too. Rebirth of Komiturn. After Stalin's formulation of the Association of One Country, the Soviet Union retreated from its goals of spreading the revolution. This is necessary evil. At the time, the Soviet Union was weak and lacked international recognition. But now that we are forced to reckon with, we have no reason to concede to capitalists any longer. Komiturn will stand ready to support the works of the world wherever it may rise against capitalism. The thing is cutting itself off. Yeah. So, well done, Egypt. Got some balls. You are completely glitched out of your own focus. So, bad snares like that. You have no idea. Yeah, split between the Saudi Revolution and the Saudi free officers. Supposedly here the coup succeeded. You got an ounce of slavery. And become a member of the United Arab States. Very interesting. Why did they emanate as separate than the state of Oman? At least you're Soviet aligned, so that's good, I guess. You both are. Good for you guys. You're back in the winning team. Yes, I'm gonna say we're the winning team. Be quiet about it. So the United Arab Republic now exists and has merged with Syria. It looks just to be. They are being invaded by everyone. Except it looks like Lebanon is in on it. Don't know. There's also a war between Nicaragua and Honduras. So there's the National Liberal Party, which is I don't entirely know what to go with. And the Hondurans under the National Party of Honduras. Neutral. I guess just don't care. I mean, it's something to watch over, but nothing to do. And with that, the call of the Komiturn. The alliance of socialist countries headed by the Soviet Union, known as the Komiturn, has officially issued a public statement that it's a reformation that it will take place in the next several months. Aside from internal developments, the Komiturn will now focus on resource extraction in order to boost the industry of the East and successfully import revolution across the world by any means necessary. It is quite clear what it means for the world. The Cold War is seeing a forward proletariat. So it's basically our old allies and East Turkestan, and that's it. It's basically just the common form or the Warsaw Pact over again. Before I end it, I'll just start with this focus so we get it done when we start next video. The reorganized party status. The Communist Party is always meant to have a mass organization. Sadly, the party has become disconnected and the working class estate there has run contrary to Marxist doctrine. The party roles will be expanded, adding millions of new voices and chorus to our great party, our great Communist Party. So with that, I call this video due. So a lot of things happened. These two are still at war. They now got the United Arab Republic because the war's fighting them. Weirdly enough, even though they're supposed to be at peace, but what do I know? There's a war in Nicaragua over. I don't even know what they're really fighting over. The communist thinking it's probably just Nicaragua is trying to overthrow the government of Honduras. That's what they're just trying to do. Alright. We got more communist allies with Ghana. I think pretty sure Oman and the Omans were already on our side. I guess Lebanon as well. I hope that Nassar survives. I mean, his focus tree is basically dealt with. So I hope he survives. It'll be very interesting how Lebanon's doing, because this seems going to be going crazy. It should be the Syrian Social Nationalist Party of Lebanon, but hey, anyway. So you got contact with Syria, Renaya. We're going to purge the old guard or attack anti-Nasserist officers. So a lot of things to check out next time. Possible Iranian civil war. I need to send some spies there. One should be enough. Seems there's not going to be a revolution here. That's because I think the thing's glitched. Although I hope for a Bahrainian revolution. Oh, you get a United Arab Federation. The United Gulf Emirates, the UGE. United Arab Emirates and United Gulf Emirates. Very funny. But hey. Let's see how things go out. Let's see if there's a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And maybe it'll be another a second Red Army in the Malayas, a second Malaysian emergency kind of emergency supposed to happen in the 60s. But anyway, this has been Mountain Limited. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it's been a long one, but you know what? It's been a very interesting one at the same time. We got the Komiturn back. The United Arab Republic exists again. The Syrian Social Nationalists have taken over Lebanon. We got more communist nations in Africa. The MPLA exists again. And, you know, I'm pretty sure there's more stuff going to happen. So, can't wait for that. But until then, this has been Mountain Limited. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you see you next time. Hope you see you. Bye bye.